everyone. This is Ian Miller,
What's going on, guys? It's Andrew.
and welcome back to another episode of Mia Talk with Miller and Smith. Tonight is going to be a little bit different, obviously, as you can tell from the title. We're actually going to do a tribute. This is going to be a tribute episode to the late and great Val Kilmer. As many of you know, Val had tragically passed away this past last that was last week.
Yeah, April 1st.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it was not an April Fool's Day joke.
No, it was not.
He passed away at the age of 65 due to complications of pneumonia.
Yeah. As I'm sure a lot of you know, Val was well, Val was diagnosed with throat cancer. Um, a while back. Um, so what was it? They had to remove what was it? Um,
His vocal cords, they
his
had to
vocal
remove
cords.
those.
Yes. He had to remove his vocal cords. So Um, you know, probably most of you know, you know, his Instagram. He had an Instagram account, so a lot of you, or most of you, probably checked out his Instagram account where he posted the videos and stuff like that where he didn't really sound like himself.
Yeah.
Um, his voice got raspy and everything like that. But um, yeah, I mean, he didn't wasn't really in any movies prior to that. After that,
Well, the last thing he did, obviously, was Top Gun Maverick, and they
yeah.
recreated his voice using AI technology, which I thought was
Mhm.
very clever, even though it was a couple of lines. Just his presence alone was very emotional, especially to fans of his character Iceman, you know, fans of the Top Gun, franchise in particular.
Mhm.
And what I didn't know this was how close Val was with Tom Cruise. I didn't know that.
Mhm.
So, seeing, I actually recently watched the movie again, maybe a couple of days after he had passed.
Mhm.
And I saw that scene in particular, and obviously it hits much harder now, but you could see there was definitely a genuine bond there. So it was like, okay, that makes sense that they were friends. It makes sense.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, when he passed, you know, I had to go back. Well, a lot of you DC fans, Batman fans out there, as we are, he did star in one of the Batman movies, Batman Forever, um, which was, which was a very good movie, which was a very good Batman movie.
Yeah.
I know you had little reservations about it, but
Well, here's the thing. I do love the movie. I do. It has a guilty pleasure. I just didn't care for the third act that much. I didn't think it was quite all there. I have to be honest, folks. I did not care for the sonar suit. I really did not.
yeah,
And for those of you who are asking McFarlane Toys to do the Panther suit, that was that was in a huge portion of the movie. I'm one of them. I'm asking for the Panther suit, McFarlane. So where's the Panther suit figure? So I like to get that. But yeah, what I always felt about Val's performance as Bruce Wayne Batman was it was so underrated because it was like, okay, yes, I admit he's not Michael Keaton, I get that, but
yeah,
he was still a good Batman. He was still a good Bruce Wayne, you know.
hmm
And the difference between him and Michael was Michael portrayals Batman was like he was not too comfortable in his own skin. He's not comfortable being Bruce Wayne.
yeah,
Whereas Val, I think, said, you know what, there is an advantage of being Bruce Wayne. I could, go move into, inner circles to see what's really going on.
hmm
But still, he's tormented and he's still very much comfortable in the Batsuit. But there's also a new layer if you watch Batman Forever is that, he's like, why am I still doing this? What am I doing this for? You know?
hmm
Which was something that was not really too much covered in the theatrical version there is a Schneider cut version that has been seen, throughout fan viewings, mostly done by Kevin Smith, where it's pretty much some of the added scenes that were out of the film and they were put back in to, you know, make the story a little bit better because there was elements in there that I thought was out of place.
Hmm.
For example, the theatrical version started with Batman springing into action, going against Two Face, played
Right.
by Tommy Lee Jones, and then we get to Jim Carrey's Edward Nigma at Wayne Enterprises. I've seen those scenes were actually were originally supposed to be reversed.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the opening, here was the real opening. The opening was going to start with Arkham Asylum, and the chief psychiatrist, Dr. Burton, is visiting Two Face,
Hmm.
who's escaped from Arkham Asylum, and it's painted on the wall of his cell, "The Bat Must Die." Then
Ooh.
it goes immediately to the Jim Carrey scene where Val's Bruce and Jim's Edward Nigma meet for the first time.
Hmm.
Then they have that interaction, and then they go. Bruce goes into his office, goes into that secret tunnel, and gets into the Bat Cave. We see the Bat suit up, and then we get into the action. That's how it was originally supposed to start, which I think was a much more completed sequence of events.
Hmm.
But again, the editors of the day, I think the director Joel Schumacher was like, "Well, let's start out with the action." Which is understandable. I get you want to start
Yeah.
with one of the best sequences, and that was one of the best sequences in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, no. I mean, I agree. I mean, Schumacher. Probably one of the action scenes to start up with that and everything. But you just have to wonder, like, if they added the scene that you just talked about, would it have gained more viewership and got more ratings on it?
I think it would have. I think it would have helped the film because I think Joe Schumacher definitely wanted a darker version of that movie.
Yeah.
And obviously many fans noticed that Tim Burton was still attached as a producer, and that's because him and Joe were actually very good friends.
Hmm.
And Joe actually spoke to Tim saying, "Well, is it okay if I do this?"
Right.
Because you have to remember, folks, this was 93, 94 when this was starting to happen because of the response, from Batman Returns being way too dark, or weird and all that.
Hmm.
The studio wanted a lion movie. It's funny how that works because now people have the first two Batman films highly rated, so that it's just time. Time really just heals all things. But anyway, but the light tone I think was okay. It wasn't too much like the '60s show,
Yeah.
where it was really out there. It obviously became its own thing, and it's very enjoyable. It really is enjoyable because there's a lot of great character moments in there because you're seeing, and this is mainly because of Val's performance. You see his torment, saying, "Okay, Dick's family's been murdered. I'm reliving this whole thing again."
Hmm.
And then we start seeing the red leather book in there. And you're like, "Well, what's that about?"
Yeah.
And it's all from because of Val's performance. And there's another scene in the that was taken out, which should have been put back in, if I'm being honest, where Val actually goes into that same place where he fell as a child, where Bruce fell as a child, finds the red leather book,
Oh
and
wow.
he reads through it, and he realizes in a passage, because this is his father's journal,
Hmm.
Bruce realizes that this wasn't his fault. His parents' murder was not his fault because he always felt very responsible about it,
Oh yeah. Of course.
but it wasn't his fault. And then that big bat that we see images of in the movie.
Yeah.
He actually encounters it in that moment again as an adult,
Like
and it just
like
yeah,
like the dream sequence or whatever it is, or like the
yeah,
real
but
actual real thing.
yeah, he sees the actual bat. It's very it's a metaphor.
Yeah.
It's a metaphor saying
Hmm.
you can't really deny your true self and all that. That he comes out of the cave saying, "I'm Batman," because now he's renewed in his mission. To bring, justice to Gotham.
Hmm.
But yeah, I remember watching that movie for the first time in the theaters back in summer of '95, and this was a crazy summer of '95 because Batman was everywhere.
Yeah. Um, yeah. When was the first time? I think you might have showed it to me the first time. That I watched it.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing, folks. I did a fan edit. I did a
Yeah.
fan edit cut of Batman Forever, where I was putting, you know, a lot of the edited scenes into the cut.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was, it was sort of it was sort of a mind thing for me because I was getting ready to write Batman Enigma, and I was like, well, let me just take a stab at it just to see what my mindset is. Yeah, and it was a good cut. It was a good cut. I
Yeah.
didn't
No, it
do that
was.
bad of a job, and
Yeah.
I learned that I didn't do. I wasn't too far from the Schumacher cut that they're
No.
that they been showing around at fan viewing. So I was very pleased with that.
Yeah. No. When I first watched it, I think you did like a great job on it. So.
Although
Um.
I should have taken out a couple of the Jim Carrey lines in there though, but
I
clearly
mean,
Jim was having fun with it.
yeah. Why would you not have fun with it? I mean, you're playing the Riddler. You're playing in a Batman movie. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
But yeah. And I'll just mention this briefly because I know you don't like talking about this specific one. But I know that, well, I know from what you told me, um, that they did offer Val Kilmer to come back in Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Um, but he took the role of the movie called The Saints at the time.
Yeah, the Saint. It was pretty much a remake of the Roger Moore television series, and also a series of films that happened in the '40s
Hmm.
with George Sanders. Um, yeah, that was part of the reason. Another part was apparently Val and Joel Schumacher did not get along together. They did not get along
Oh wow.
during the making of Batman Forever, which I was kind of sad. I was like, oh, that's a shame. Yeah, because you always like it when the lead actor and the filmmaker actually gets along. They have
Yeah.
nice rapport, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, you just have to wonder, like, if if Val actually did come back, would that movie actually be much better than it was? With the person that shall remain nameless.
uh, um, I have no idea. I have
Yeah,
no idea.
exactly. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't. Yeah, I don't expect you to give like a full answer on it or whatever, but you just have to wonder sometimes.
it's funny. I had Michael Uslan on my other channel. Maybe you probably know who this is. Michael Uslan is the Batman executive producer. Very
Right.
nice guy, very down to earth,
Hmm.
full of stories. Lovely guy, lovely guy. He didn't want to talk too much about Batman and Robin, and I think it did hurt him a lot. Because it wasn't where the franchise started back. When the first film, was starting to really develop.
Right.
But he did tell me that that film was pretty much made for the merchandise because that's what the executives at the time were focused on, the merchandise. Because you have to remember, with the Batman films, the merchandise skyrocketed
Hmm.
with the '89 film, the '92 film, but with '95, my God, but like I said, Batman was everywhere. I'm like, there was these, they still there was these French cut glasses that you get at McDonald's
Hmm.
with all the characters in there. I actually have the complete set. I still
Of
have the
course
set
you
that set to this day. Well, of
did.
course,
Of course
again,
you did.
and this is from McDonald's. And they at that point I'd never heard of that. I know
Yeah.
Flintstones did that when their movie came out in '94,
Hmm.
I was shocked. And apparently, when they first started, selling these glasses, I think a week, 2 weeks before the movie was released, they were all sold out.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and apparently, this is another thing, which has become a tradition. Which each of the Batman movies, there was these big bus posters that you get at bus stops. See at bus stops. People actually would break into these things and just take the posters out. That's how crazy the whole this was how Batmania this was. It was absolutely crazy.
That's yeah. I mean, that's probably how all the hype was, Batman back then. I mean,
Yeah, and the fact that they had a new Batmobile, and
mhm,
the two new villains in there. Robin was in there, so
mhm,
yeah, it was a lot. And I remember the movie sold out that opening weekend, and it made obviously a little bit more than Batman Returns did.
yeah.
But people forget Batman Returns was still a box office hit. It wasn't the Batman Forever,
Oh
numbers.
yeah.
But yeah, another thing was had a killer soundtrack that year. The soundtrack I still listen to this day, which had two signature songs in there, which was "Hold Me," "Thrill Me," "Kiss Me," "Kill Me" from U2,
Hmm.
and "Kiss from a Rose" from Seal. Which some people actually don't know. "Kiss from a Rose" was actually done first. That was released a year earlier
Okay. Yeah.
by Warner Brothers Records. It wasn't a big a hit until they re-released it in with this movie. That became a huge hit. It was number one for weeks at a time.
Oh, I'm sure. I can imagine.
This is something that's not done anymore, folks. They don't do these type of albums anymore,
No, they don't.
which I think is sad because but it was also very much 90s. It was very much in the moment.
Hmm.
Yeah, but people went nuts for the Batmobile. They went completely nuts for the Batmobile.
I mean, can you blame them?
Now, it was unlike anything they had seen before, and it was also callback to the 1940s Batmobile with a big bat wing at the back.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? It's a little flashy. It's not like the Keaton Batmobile, but still, this is pretty cool. I wouldn't mind driving this down some street somewhere if I could fit the damn foot pedal. Because I'm a perfect size for the Kilmer one, but I'm not a good size for the Keaton one. I'm a good size for that
Yeah.
because Michael and I are pretty much the same
Oh,
height. You could probably drive Val's Batmobile with no problem.
yeah. I don't think I could be able to fit inside Michael's Batmobile. I
Well,
really don't.
You did a pretty good job, at one of the conventions. But they
Oh
took
yeah,
the wheel out from what you told me.
true. Yeah, true. Yeah. But like, I would have gone crazy for just at least once drive the Batmobile down the street or something. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Apparently, at the Warner Brothers studio lot, you can actually sit in one of the Batmobiles. So I don't know. I think going out to California just for that, I think might be in the order at some point.
write that down on the list.
It's a never growing list, folks. It's a never growing list. Yeah, number one is like going to a movie premiere at one of these comic book movies. That's number one.
I mean, San Diego Comic Con is up there too. I mean, getting into Hall H.
Okay, well, what? Hey, why we MC those things?
Yes,
I would love to MC one of the panels. Absolutely.
yes, definitely. I'm definitely down for that.
If you guys think we should do it, please comment below.
Yes, please. If you think we should just go right for it. Just leave it in the comments, and I think we should
Yeah,
tell them we should do it. We'll do it.
yeah, absolutely.
Um, but
Yeah,
yeah. Um, I'm sorry. You were gonna say something.
but yeah, I think that's pretty much what we can say about Batman Forever at this point. But yeah, there was another movie that Val gets a lot of love for, and that's Tombstone.
Hmm.
Now, I'm not sure if you know the story of this. Tombstone's about pretty much it's set in the old West, and it has Wyatt Earp, played by Kurt Russell, and his two brothers, coming to Tombstone to try to get away from law enforcement and really make their riches in silver because in Tombstone they were actually mining silver at this point.
Yeah.
So they figured, oh, let's just get in on it. And Doc Holliday, that's played by Val Kilmer, also comes to Tombstone. Just to be with the Earps, and also get on the silver. Then things happen because now the Clantons and the McClurys, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, I'm sorry, have now got a feud against the Earps.
Yeah.
In fact, they want to kill the Earps. So now they have this big fight at the OK Corral. Maybe you've heard of this.
Hmm.
And Doc Holliday helps the Earps out, defeat the Claytons and the McClurys. I have to tell you, it's a great movie. It's a great western if you haven't seen it, especially with Kurt Russell as Wyatt Earp. But Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday steals every damn scene. I mean, really.
I have not seen it.
Oh, you gotta see it, man. You gotta see it. I mean, jeez. His performance is fantastic. It really is. And here's the thing: about 18 months in between the release, they were releasing another Wyatt Earp movie with Kevin Costner
Hmm.
and Dennis Quaid as Doc Holliday. I've seen both films. I believed Val Kilmer's performance because he generally looked sick, you
Yeah.
know, because that's just makeup and how he acted. With Dennis Quaid, he lost so much weight, to make it look like he appeared sick. I didn't believe that he was sick. I didn't believe his performance not one bit. Not one bit. So, yeah, Val just stole every scene that he was in.
All right, I gotta add that to the list now. I gotta watch it.
Yeah, if you got Hulu, you can watch it on there.
Yeah, yeah, I got that. Um, yeah, I know he was also in the movie Heat with Robert De Niro.
Oh, that's a great one. That is a
Yeah.
great one. Uh, I actually had to watch that at some point, soon. It's got he's plays one of the bank robbers. Obviously, it's a very
Yeah.
much a unit. It's led by Robert De Niro, and obviously they pull off these robberies. And Al Pacino, is a detective, that goes after them.
Hmm.
But he's just a very smart detective. But Robert De Niro is crazy smart in this as well. And this was directed by Michael Mann, who's done many things, including Public Enemies with Johnny Depp and Christian Bale.
Yes. Yeah. Which now I believe they are making another Heat too.
Yeah, Mann co-wrote a novel called He Too, which Warner Brothers did buy.
Hmm.
So that's being developed into a movie. So that should be fun.
Which I believe it was announced like 3 years ago.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So we'll see what transpires with that. Um, and I believe the last movie that I saw with Val, pretty sure. The last movie that I saw with Val, actually before he, got his vocal cords removed, which was a movie called Deja Vu with Denzel Washington.
That was a good one.
Yeah. Um, if a lot of you aren't familiar with the movie, I thought it was a pretty well done movie. I enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite Denzel Washington ones. But pretty much, you know, um, there's pretty much this boat attack, the ship attack as it starts by a terrorist, and Denzel Washington is a I forgot what he was. What was he? Some cop. He was a cop. Um, FBI maybe I think or something like that. I forgot what it was. Um, Give me 1 second, folks.
He was an ATF special agent.
ATF. Yes, that was it. ATF. You're right. So he was an ATF special agent coming in to investigate the crash. Um, and then he, and then comes in Val Kilmer, who he's an FBI agent.
Yeah,
Um, as Denzel Washington is investigating the scene, he comes in, um, you know, asking asking Denzel Washington for help. Originally, he was looking for his partner, but um, you know, his partner unfortunately passed away. Uh, due to the events of the attack. But pretty much he asked Denzel Washington to help out because he can help out with the scene and knows what to look for and everything. So he's the head of this. You know, he's the head of this team um, who can actually find out what happened in the attack. They can actually go back and you know um, find like go through different time windows to find out exactly what happened, and they can look for the person who was actually involved in the attack.
yeah,
Um, so Val is the head of that team, and um, you know, and Denzel Washington goes back in time and um, tries to stop the attack, but Val. I think Val did actually a good job in that role, playing that FBI agent. I enjoyed that movie with him in it.
yeah, yeah. There was another movie though that was released a year earlier that um, not really talked about a lot, but when it is talked about, it's talked with much love.
Hmm.
It is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang with Robert Downey Jr.
Oh yes, yes, I remember that one.
Yeah, this is a neo noir black comedy, a
Hmm.
crime film that was directed by Shane Black, who wrote the Lethal Weapon movie.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's pretty much a detective story, solving a couple of murders in Los Angeles. Typically, what you see in these type of movies. And the chemistry between Downey and Kilmer was just fantastic. It's something you have to see.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I saw it once or twice, I believe. That was a
Yeah,
while ago, so I don't know that I've seen it recently, but I did enjoy it when I first saw it.
yeah, and there's also Downey's comeback movie as well.
Hmm.
So yeah, if you haven't seen the Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, I would definitely check it out. I would also watch it during Christmas because it's technically a Christmas movie.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
It's like Die Hard. If it takes place at Christmas, it's a Christmas movie. In your face, Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, Val does a great job. Robert did a fantastic job as well. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's a very loved movie. And of course, we cannot talk about Top Gun. We cannot talk about it.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean the he plays that cocky, kind of baddish guy with Tom Cruise, but he's really not. He's just a very cocky pilot.
Well, let's face it, Maverick is kind of a cocky pilot as well.
Yeah, I would actually think even more cocky than Val Kilmer in the movie, but
Yeah. Obviously, the course of their relationship changes when Goose dies,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously, Iceman is a bit more, helpful, more sentimental when it comes to Maverick because Maverick's going through a really tough time.
Mm-hmm.
And when you find out in the sequel, though, how much Iceman has been in Maverick's life and helped with his career and all that, you're like, wow, there's a friendship there. And then, like I said earlier, when Maverick visits Iceman and realizes that he's sick, that his cancer's come back, which was really not too far from the truth. Yeah, they have a very nice, touching scene. Trying to get this team together, trying to get Rooster together, and Iceman's like, "I think you gotta let go, Maverick. You gotta let go." And it's a very powerful performances from both men. And of course, the scene ends. A great interaction where Iceman is like, "Who's the better pilot, you or me?" And Maverick's like, "You know what? This was a nice moment. Let's not ruin it." But I gotta tell you that funeral scene though, that hit a lot harder. It hits a lot harder now because it was a very powerful scene. When you watch the movie for the first time when it was released, but now, ugh,
Yeah, I mean the one that gets to me, well, yeah, that scene in Top Gun Maverick, but also at the end of the movie of the first Top Gun movie, um, you see Val um, telling Tom Cruise's character that you can. He says the line, um, "You can be my wingman anytime," and then Tom Cruise says, "No, you can be mine."
and thus a friendship was born. Oh
Yeah,
man,
yeah,
it's funny. The day that Val passed, I actually pulled out Batman Forever and just watched it. I actually watched it twice, just to watch his performance again because, like I said, he was such an underrated Batman.
no, yeah, he's actually up there as one of the better Batmans that I've seen.
Yeah, yeah. Clooney's like rock bottom. He's like rock bottom.
Ugh, I thought we were gonna go a whole episode without saying it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize. I just think
Uh,
Val should. I think Val should have done Batman and Robin. I think he should have.
I agree. I think they should have brought those casts back, but um,
It is what it is.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, instantly, like when I saw the news that Val had passed, I instantly just thought, you know, him in the Batman suit, and then I just put the headline up there: "Rest in peace, Batman," or actually, I'm sorry, "Rest in peace, Dark Knight." I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Pretty much the same thing. I just put the big poster of him, one of the solo posters from the movie, and I said, "Rest in peace, Batman,"
yeah.
because that's what he was to us. He was Batman of the '90s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was.
So Val, wherever you are, here's to you, buddy. Here's to you, and enjoy the rest. You've earned it.
Rest in peace, Val. You will be missed forever.
Oh, a little tongue in cheek, isn't it?
I'm just saying.
You know what? I think it's appropriate. He would have liked it.
Yeah.
Oh, there was another movie that I forgot to mention. Of course, Willow, directed by Ron Howard.
Oh yes.
That's also on streaming if you haven't seen it, folks. It's on Prime Video.
I forgot he was in that movie.
It was a good. That's another good movie too. Then I watched his first movie that he ever did, which was top secret. And
Hmm.
this was done by the people that did The Naked Gun and Airplane. It actually was considered a box office bomb when it was released, but it was still funny. I still enjoy his performance. And of course, everyone knows him as well as Jim Morrison in the movie The Doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw costume photos of him
Mm.
in the full makeup. I was like, I can't tell which is which because I had Val's Jim Morrison and the real Jim Morrison, side by side shots. I was like, I can't tell which is which. It was that accurate. It was that good.
Yeah. I also forgot, like, I saw this movie years ago. And I totally forgot that he actually played this character in the movie. It was a Disney movie called The Prince of Egypt.
Yeah,
Um,
it actually wasn't Disney. Disney was
I'm
actually
sorry, not
produced.
Disney.
Don't
I
get
keep, I
them
keep,
confused.
I keep getting them confused. I apologize.
Well, don't. It's completely different companies.
All right, all right, all right. I'm sorry. It was DreamWorks.
What if we end up interviewing somebody from Disney? They're gonna remember this.
All right, all right, all right. I apologize. I apologize.
They remember. They remember.
It was DreamWorks. I'm sorry. DreamWorks
Yeah,
Pictures.
that was such a good movie.
It was. It was. I enjoy. I think I watched that. Kept going back watching that movie a few times. But he did play two parts. Was Moses and God. I didn't even realize it at the time until after he passed, and then they posted something. Forgot what it was. That
I got to watch it myself because I don't remember this.
Yeah, I got to go back and watch it again on. Yeah. But they posted something where he had voiced Moses and God. I played it. And I'm like, okay, now this rings a bell. Now I realize Val was in this. Okay, but that was a well done DreamWorks movie.
I'm sorry I beat you up on that. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. I apologize. I apologize to DreamWorks. I apologize to Disney. I apologize.
Nah, but yeah, yeah, I remember watching that when I was a kid. I didn't see it in the theaters, but I was like, wow, because it's really obviously the retelling of Moses and also him discovering God and also you know, trying to get free the slaves and all
Hmm.
away from the Egyptians. But yeah, his performance was very good. It was very solid, and you also forget, there's another Batman alumni in there, and that was Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yes, yes. Michelle Pfeiffer playing Catwoman.
Yeah, it's funny. It was actually I actually tried to email the uh, Batsuit sculptor who did the '95 movie just to
Hmm.
see to talk about his experiences with that because
Yeah.
obviously the anniversary is coming up in June.
Oh yes, yes, that's right. I remember. Yeah.
Eh, still, a memory from my childhood is just now really become a memory.
Yeah. But we'll always have his performances. If any of you haven't seen the movies that we have mentioned in our episode tonight, just go and watch them.
Yeah,
they're fun movies. You know.
go watch them not just for the enjoyment, but also to honor him
Hmm.
because that's what he's best known for his work.
Yeah. I mean, some of these movies that we mentioned, he doesn't really get a lot of credit for. It doesn't really stand out. You know, like the Batman movies, like the Top Gun movies. Um, you know, um, but all very good performances that he was in. So just go ahead and watch him. It's you know, just honor his legacy. Just um, honor his performance.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's going to be it for us this evening. Um, But join us the next time when we're actually gonna do a movie trailer reaction. What's it gonna be? We don't know yet. Stay tuned for that.
That's a surprise. So tune in, everybody.
Yeah. Well, I'm Ian Miller,
I'm Andrew Smith.
and this has been Media Talk with Mel and Smith. Have a good night, folks.
Good night, guys.
If you'd like to follow us on YouTube, just hit that like button and subscribe.